What was I saying? Yes, for a little bit of context, Unaiza and I need to say your name, not like Unaiza. Okay, Amina.
It's fine. Because lots of people say it in many different ways. My dad pronounces it some totally different way, and my mom does completely
Really?
differently. Yeah, so I'm
No
used to
way.
it. Yeah.
I've been noticing like a lot more how Samia pronounces it, and I was like, oh
Like
my gosh,
Uneza.
Uneza, exactly. And you also say Uneza, but I have realized I say it so like Uneza, like so.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, hello.
I'm Uneza.
And I'm Amina, and welcome to the Migratory Pod.
What's the first stop in the spiral of your story?
So this is our second time trying to record this. We had a very difficult testing period last week, getting all the equipment
But
sorted.
learning is learning, so
Learning is learning. Hopefully, nothing goes wrong this time. Fingers crossed.
fingers crossed. Hope the audio syncs up to the video just the way we want.
Exactly, exactly. So, to give you guys a bit of context, Aneza and I have been running a page on Instagram. Well, not anymore. It was a page that ran in like the early months of 2021, I want to say. And then we
Yeah.
carried it on for a little bit, and then it just kind of fell off. But it didn't exactly fall off. We want to expand the topic, and we feel like this is a lot more fitting to what we want to talk about.
Yeah, so essentially, we want to take the concept of the migratory, which was our now dead food page, in which we looked at the historical ties and networks of food traditions, how ingredients moved across the globe, etc. But the key element of how food moves around is people, and we really want to bring in the people stories. This will be more modern day with a little bit of a historical spin, wherever we can fit it, because our modern stories are very much defined by moments in history. And particularly the thing that we really want to explore in every single episode, and we might even touch on it a little bit here, is that movements don't happen in vacuums. So when people move around, it might seem seemingly random,
It never is.
yeah, and it never really is. There are networks, historical movements, and historical patterns that create room for that kind of movement to occur, even if it happens because of someone's corporate job and their relocation. There is a reason why they,
Yeah.
yeah,
Why that reason even came to be. Like, why
why
is.
that reason even came to be. But yeah, basically all sorts of reasons bring people to move to lots of different places, and the reasons are never random, even though they may seem
They
so
may seem
seemingly
like it.
on the surface. Yeah.
Exactly. The reasons that we talk about have not gotten to like the root reason. We think that's like fascinating to explore. The pod is also going to explore the psychological effects of moving around and what that looks like in today's world, what being an expat is like. I mean, there's no cookie. Like, no, what's the word?
There's no cookie cutter experience,
Yeah, there's
expat
no one
experience.
way, yeah, to experience being an expat.
So the both of us, Amina and I, decided to do this. Even earlier, we basically bonded over a very special fact. Even though we met officially in Canada, we share a common lived experience, and that was expat life in Dubai. But essentially, Amina and I, the way that we met was in pretty interesting circumstances.
Very much so.
I'll let you tell the story of how, since it's very much your story, and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
side character.
Well, it's funny because I was in Montreal and Oneza was in Toronto, and on a random summer of 2018, I had an internship in Toronto, and so I packed my bags and went, and I essentially got bamboozled by this false advertisement on Craigslist. Don't know why I was looking for apartments on Craigslist, but I was looking for short term rentals. And yeah, there was a listing that came up that said that an apartment was going to be fully furnished and, ready for me to just live in for 2 months. And I show up, come to find out the tenant, or not the tenant, but the landlady was there. And like she was in the apartment and she was going to stay with me for 2 months. And she was a complete stranger, had not spoken to her before. Not only that, but the apartment was not furnished like how the advertisement like said that it would be. And the only furniture that the apartment had was like one bed in the main master bedroom that she was gonna live in. So that left me sleeping
With nothing.
on the floor.
But
so
also
sh
consider this, like Amina is pretty much a student, right? Living her student life in Montreal. She's not gonna come with a whole bunch of furniture.
No, of course not. This is very, again, like short-term rentals. I just packed my bags, like one suitcase. And she was like, yeah, like go and sleep in the den. And the den in Toronto is like a half room that doesn't even it's not it's like almost like a big open closet, I would say. And
No windows. Yeah.
no windows, nothing, just like
Not even a proper door, right? It's just like
no
a
door.
sliding door situation
Sometimes
that's
if you're
open.
lucky, like a
Yeah.
den will have a door, but this one didn't. And she laid out the thinnest, practically like just a sheet on the floor, and she was like, "Sleep here."
Here you go.
Here you go. And yeah, I was like freaking out. I was like, what the fuck did I do? Oopsies. I was
All
like,
good.
what did I do? Uh, and like, how am I gonna get through this? It was already really late at night. Am I gonna spend the night? And I told myself it's fine. It's okay. Just do it. And I did. And I stayed the night at a stranger's house in the den on the floor. And I was terrified and I didn't have a good time. And then she really was going to be there the whole time. And I was like, no, I need to get out immediately. So then I reached out to Unaiza. And Unaiza, I only knew her because of like a mutual friend. But yeah, I messaged her and I was like, you need to save me right now. And then, yeah, what did you do, Unaiza?
Yeah, I pretty much saved her. Wasn't trying too hard. It was very easy. No work really needed. Because Amina's great company, so she made it so much easier. I really found like the best friendship that summer. It was a very romantic summer. That's what we
It
quote
was.
it as all the time.
Yeah.
But in essence, she reached out to me. I reached out to like a network of friends that I have on Instagram, put out a little story post asking if anyone has a place that they could temporarily sublet. Someone responded. Amina moved there for the summer, and we had a summer romance.
Summer romance. Unaiza actually let me stay like a couple of days at her house. That's when we like fell in love, we say.
Yeah, I think it was like a night or two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, a night or two. And then we spent literally every day of that summer together.
yeah,
And yeah, it was great. It was great. That was 6 years ago. Wait, one, two, three.
yeah.
No,
2018, 6 years ago. Crazy.
that was almost 7 years ago. 2025.
Oh wow, yeah.
3 more years and it's a decade. That's crazy.
That is pretty crazy. So I think the thing that basically led to, this really good high five moment for Amina and I in Toronto that summer was our Dubai expat background. And throughout my time in undergrad, I really did seek out one other Dubai kids, two other third culture kids, because it's just really such a unifying experience. It's so different from really any other kind of
Yeah,
lived moving experience.
Dubai is essentially such a hub that connects expats from all over the world. It's like the perfect host location for people like us.
People like us, our parents, third culture kids. So essentially, you meet a lot of people that have a very, very similar story to yours, and
Yeah.
connection happens really, really quick. You just get it. And all these kids, third culture kids, they mostly go to international schools that are, again, like this crazy network of people that somehow know each other. Like, I have mutuals with really random people in like Singapore because someone
Yeah.
else from my school went to that school for a little bit. But it's this global network of kids that have similar backgrounds that just know each other and are able to connect really quickly.
Yeah. Dubai is very much sort of expanded because of that. There's actually just a few fun facts or statistics. But the local population in Dubai is about like 7%,
I
meaning
think it's like
every
11 to 12 now. I
yeah,
was
now it
reading
yes.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. When I arrived, it was 7%, which was in
Yeah.
2004. And yeah, so like they're the minority. It also leaves some sort of effect on you where when you leave Dubai, you also crave similar connections that you can't really find as easily in like the West, let's say, where most people are locals. But Uneza and I, and I'm sure a lot of other people that grew up in Dubai, we find ourselves, sorry,
Craving.
craving
Yeah.
friendships that are sort of three-dimensional in that way, or people that have essentially also grown up as expats.
Or just like lead a highly mobile, global lifestyle. I think
Yeah,
it adds so much more depth to your personality
yeah.
when we move away to the West where it's harder to experience it. You really find yourself yearning for that. I do not mean at all to sound bratty or high-headed.
Yeah, exactly. It really is just an experience that we felt was one of a kind, and we want to continue to experience it throughout our lives. We can't just like let it go because we left Dubai. We want to continue to connect with people who have like had international like movements and who have also been migrants and expats the way that we have been. It really, really does change your psyche. It changes how you view the world, changes how you connect with others, and yeah, it's just so special,
And
really.
that kind of experience, it like creates an open-mindedness in you and your
Yes.
families and just the way you operate, living and walking the world. It's an experience which makes you more of a risk taker in the safest
Yeah,
way possible. Like you're able to take leaps and move around and just have an open heart.
I think the idea is about being like exposure. We've
Yeah.
like been exposed to a lot, been exposed to a huge like amount of cultures and customs and like just ways of thinking.
Yeah, you're right. It's like truly the question of exposure, right? Like it depends on how much you've been exposed to earlier on in your life or later on, and just how open you are to it.
Exposure to cultures, really.
Yeah.
Something else as it relates to migration is, or how it, I guess, relates to people like us, quote unquote, is that movement becomes a lot more natural to us than not moving. Like we said, a really good high five, and then you like, it's a high five that you like hold on to, and
Yeah.
you never want to let it
High
go.
five that turns into interlocked
Exactly.
handheld,
You,
hand holding.
yeah, you can't let it go. You can't
Yeah.
let go of like friendships like that. And even though they're both examples of what being an expat is like, it
Yeah.
doesn't really fit into one like cookie cutter.
Mold, yeah. On
Yeah.
the surface, it seems like a similar story
Yes.
to girls around the same age, grew up in Dubai, went to similar schools, etc. But we come from vastly different backgrounds. I come
Yeah.
from like business. My dad has a small business in Dubai, where he does wholesale and retail of auto spare parts. The shop is in Dera, so it's in like the main market where, things turn off in Dubai, like from 1 to 4 p.m., like shutters down, nobody's operational. And Amina comes from, I think her dad is in corporate.
Yeah, yeah, electrical engineer, and then yeah, corporate.
The culture in Dubai, especially if you're an expat that your parents have found their job in Dubai via a multinational company, what tends to happen is that the contract provides for housing, or
Yeah.
at least you have provisions for that, you have recommendations for that. So a lot of kids that I grew up around grew up in compounds, whereas my parents kind of had to do their own research for their housing. And
I actually want to make that very like clear. I think it's such a good point is like Dubai also operates as a business in and of itself. And like people don't just like, I mean, at least for the majority of expats there, we don't necessarily choose to move there. We're usually brought there for a specific reason. And so, like the way, in order to get people to move there, Dubai is very new. There was nothing when we moved. There was no, not very much of a long standing like history, for example,
Yeah, or much infrastructure or,
or much
the
infrastructure. There
stuff
was
that we see today.
there are some crazy images of Dubai like in the 60s, 80s with like one
Even
building.
early 2000s.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There was one big Toyota building. Was it Toyota? Yeah, I think it was Toyota.
I'm not sure, but you continue.
Or like some type of like some like really big international company. But yeah, there was like one building, and very small population of locals, and really like not much to attract people to really want to be there. So because of that, companies will sponsor you essentially, in case that wasn't like known. But yeah, they will sponsor you. Like Oneza said, the packages can cover your rent. They can cover the tuition for your kids. They can cover a
Transport,
transport,
car.
a driver, or a car. Yeah, just so many things. So I just wanted to make that like little point that it's very also again unique in that sense, and it does operate as a business. Yeah.
Yeah. And as of now, I think those like classic expat packages are kind of dwindling because the
Yeah.
infrastructure is kind of there and
Yeah.
people now willingly move to Dubai. There isn't much of like a pull needed, but Saudi is adopting these practices
Yes.
now. And so
Yeah.
this kind of movement is currently very popping in Saudi in the sense that they give you very good relocation packages.
Yeah.
But the key difference in the way that Amina and I experienced Dubai was that Amina had these, classic expat privileges. And then for me, my parents kind of just like learned as they went, and we, through community, learned like, okay, these are the schools you should be sending your kids to. These are the places to be living in, etc. So it was a very much like a know as you go kind of thing. Whereas I think the classic expat experience, especially if your parents work for an MNC, is very much that you almost get it handed to you in a silver platter.
Exactly. There's like a list of schools that are,
Yeah.
like we follow this international curriculum. There's a lot of like emphasis on like living an international life and being exposed to other people who are in the exact same boat as you. That's our community, if anything. And then people live in compounds and
Can you describe compound life just a little bit?
yes, a compound is essentially like a gated neighborhood, a gated community, but
It's a
in it,
world, right?
it's a mini world, exactly. So you wouldn't find just like villas, houses, but you'd also find in each and every individual compound there would be several like parks, pools, a community center with like a small supermarket in it,
Some restaurants, fast
some
food,
restaurants,
maybe. Yeah.
exactly, or some of your like basic like services that you would need, like a hairstyle, like a hair salon, or I
Dry
don't know,
cleaners.
dry cleaners, exactly, like things like that. So
Basically, wouldn't ever really need to step out.
it's not really a walkable city. So it's very much like compound to compound. You take a car, you drive. I mean, now it's getting a little bit more walkable-ish.
There have historically been parts of Dubai that have been very walkable, but they're
Yes,
the
older
older
parts.
sides of Dubai.
Yeah.
They're where the classic markets are, where my dad's shop was situated, where I guess like the more Indian Pakistani expat population lives.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry,
That's
continue.
another perfect way to explain the differences and how we like experience Dubai.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like for the most part, I experienced like the non-walkable newer parts of it. Which yeah, again, it was just like highway to highway, point A to point B. There are there's like old Dubai that is very much, I guess Unesa described it really well. One time she said it's like an extension of South Asia, if I can say that. I think that's a good way to explain it. And very buzzing, lots of people, and like very much alive compared to the newer parts of Dubai.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah.
extension of South Asia is super apt. I've always wanted to go to Bombay, Mumbai, and I feel like I get to experience that whenever I'm in Mina Bazaar. So
Yeah, I mean, that
I
bizarre.
can kind of,
Even I
see what
went and I
that's
was like,
like.
where am I?
Right?
No, like
Yeah.
really.
But yeah, there's a lot of if you do move to Dubai as an expat, as a migrant, there will always be a part of your culture that will kind of
Be
authentically have
represented?
its presence. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So obviously, Amina and I have spent our lives in Dubai very differently, and just by virtue of that, we are as well very different people. So we will bring in our strengths in very different ways to this podcast. Amina will take on a psychologist hat anytime we discover, anytime we basically uncover topics that are close to, I suppose, evolutionary psychology or just psychology in general.
Like the
And
human impact.
the human impact. Amina will be doing her deep dives there and providing some very, very fresh insights. And then just on the opposite end of that spectrum, I will be putting on my history hat and I'll try to be a history nerd, not too much, but
Please be one.
as much as possibly tolerable. I'll be doing that, and yeah,
Unaiza, what did you study in university?
I studied Islamic studies.
What else? You studied two more things, no?
Yeah, I did. I studied Islamic studies and I did contemporary Asian studies, and I think that was it.
I could have
Yeah.
sworn you did like women's studies. Did you not?
I did, but I think I dropped that at the end. I just like made
Oh,
it two majors.
okay. Oh, you did a double major? This is crazy that I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, on my end, I did a major in sociology and then two minors in psychology and communications. Just to further like explain sort of like the angles that we're coming in from. But it's all gonna be fun and like Uneza said, hopefully not too nerdy, but also maybe a little bit nerdy. Why not?
Yeah, we do want to be a little bit nerdy here
Yeah,
because, we're not just silly little women laughing about our lady of leisure lives in Dubai. We're also very smart and intellectual
that's
girls
fucking
that
right.
can that can that can analyze these situations and give you more than what's just at the surface. And that's the
Yeah.
whole point of this pod.
While giggling.
Yeah. Whilst having a laugh.
We're gonna talk about my family story and how it ended in Dubai at this point, but we're gonna trace it all the way back. Same with Uneza, and we have a couple of friends as well that are going to make their appearance on the pod. So look forward to that.
Cannot wait.
I cannot wait.
So we are on Ko-fi. That's www.ko-fi.com. It is a platform where creators can, you can basically gift a creator some money. No.
Give us money if you want. Our wallets are open.
So, a little support would go a long way. Thank you.
This is good. Okay, we got that covered. This took a lot of mental preparations. The episodes will come once a week. Um, Follow us on TikTok, on Instagram.
Yeah, we are the Migratory. That's no,
No.
THE.
Podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and
Apple
podcasts, Apple
Podcasts.
Podcasts. Thanks for
Yep.
listening.
Thank you for your support.
I'm Amina,
I'm Unaiza.
and we will see you on the next stop.
Bye.